In order to get to our power steering pump, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and take our battery out of the way. It's right above the pump assembly. Whenever you take the battery out, you always want to take off the negative cable first and then the positive, so that way you don't take a chance of the wrench arcing against metal ground. The next thing we want to take off, so we're going to take off the fan shroud and our fan. The fan shroud is attached with two fasteners on the top. And then we have the fan blade on the inside. I'm going to take the fan off first and kind of drop it into the shroud. Then I'll take the shroud loose and then take the whole assembly up out of the way. Next we want to go ahead and take our drive belt off. We're looking right at our power steering pump now. Now here's our replacement power steering pump, and if you look at this, you can see that the pump doesn't come with a pulley. We're going to have to remove the old pulley from the old pump, and we're going to reinstall it on the new pump. As a matter of fact, you have to take the old pulley out of the way to get to the fasteners that hold the pump onto the bracket. Something else by looking at this, you can see that the pump assembly already has the plastic reservoir on it. That's the way that this one's purchased. But on yours, you may need to transfer the reservoir off of the old pump onto the new pump. When you do that, a couple things to keep in mind. One, there's an O-ring in here. You want to make sure that the O-ring's in place. And secondly, you want to check your old reservoir and make sure you don't have any cracks in it. Because one place that's really common to crack is right here. This is the return hose nipple. It's made out of plastic. And when you take this hose off, especially if it's been on there for quite a while, that hose is going to be hard and brittle. And a lot of times if you force it, you're going to break this nipple off. Then you're going to have to replace this reservoir. About the best practice to take this return hose off is just to go ahead and slit the hose, make sure you don't cut into the nipple part of it. Also, this is our pressure fitting right here. We take the pressure line off. We've got just a cap over here. That's where our inside of our reservoir is, where our cap's going to go on there. That's where you put the fluid in at. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and take our pressure line off. And right here, if you look at it, it's right here on the side of our pump. We're going to take that off, get that out of the way. Then we can go ahead and get our pulley off. When we get into our return hose, it's going to be kind of hard for you to see, but I'll go ahead and take that off, and then we'll go ahead and take our fasteners off and then put the new pump on. Let's get started. Okay, next we want to remove the pulley. In order to do that, there's a remover and an installer kit for this one because it has a pressed-on pulley. Now the good news is this is part of the AutoZone Loan a Tool program, so you don't have to go out and buy one. Now if you look at our kit, not only does it have the remover we're going to use right here, it also has the installer, because when you take the pulley off, when you put the old pulley back on the replacement pump, you don't want to beat on it. You want to use the installer or you'll damage the pump. Something else to keep in mind too, when you take the pulley off, take a good look at the inside of the pulley, check the pulley for any kind of damage. If you find any damage, it needs to be replaced because it has to maintain that pressed fit. So let's go ahead and get started. Now the remover, if you look at this, it's 4 pieces basically. We have 2 halves. We have the actual bolt that's going to tie it down on our shaft, and we have a sleeve that holds the 2 halves together. Let's go ahead and assemble this. We want to run this back in. Okay, that's where we'll start at. Something else to keep in mind too on the 2 halves. If you look at this, we have 2 different size openings here. It depends on how big the pulley flange is. So we want to make sure we identify which one we need. In our case, it'll be this one. So how this goes together is pretty simple. Okay, what we do is we start out right there, and we take our halves one at a time. Run it in a little bit more. And then the sleeve's going to hold the halves together. Just slides over both of them. Okay, now the puller is installed, we want to go ahead and take the pulley off. Okay, there's our pulley. Let's take a look at it. It's a good time to go in and inspect it. And ours is in really good shape. Also want to check for any kind of wear or any kind of distortion on our grooves for our serpentine belt. Any cracks in it. And we already know by watching it run that it wasn't bent, so we're in good shape. All right, next, I want to go ahead and take our 3 fasteners off the front of the pump, and then the pump will be off. Well, there's a defective power steering pump. Next, we'll go down below and start taking that rack off. As with any job, to do it right, you'll need the right tools. The nice thing is that jobs today don't require a large, expensive assortment. Basic hand tools are generally all you'll need. In case where a specialty tool is required, be sure to check with AutoZone's Loan a Tool program. They have many specialty tools that can help you complete your job a lot quicker and easier. The first things you'll need are a socket set, torque wrench, drop light, tape measure, tie rod separator, and a repair manual for your specific vehicle. You may also need screwdrivers or pliers to remove some components. We will also need power steering fluid to replace what will be lost during the repair.
Be cautious when working under the hood. If the engine has been running, components will be extremely hot, so be careful what you touch. When working around a running engine, it is important to be alert and never wear loose clothing or a necktie that can get tangled in belts, pulleys, or the fan. When lifting a vehicle, never work under it until it has been secured with wheel blocks and securely positioned on jack stands. A hydraulic jack alone is never enough. Be cautious when working with oils and chemicals. Many are damaging to the groundwater environment and toxic to people and animals. Never drain or pour chemicals into the ground or sewer systems. Local municipalities and counties offer resources for proper disposal. And always remember to wear your safety glasses.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Get the entire DVD for this repair and all other procedures covered in the Complete Car Care series at your local AutoZone store.